I have students coming up to me all the time saying things like 2 plus 2 equals 4, and 4 plus 4 equals 8. And I say, great, you're right. Can you show me what that looks like? And I'll hand them some toys, and they don't know what to do because they don't understand what they're saying. I'm finding that, they're able to spew out those arithmetic facts, but when it comes down to actually understanding what they're saying, they don't get it. That's because they're 4 and 5 years old. You know, just like a 4 and 5-year-old aren't ready physically to do the same things that an adult can, it's the same as they're not able to mentally do the same things as an adult can, and they're not mentally able to understand certain things. Or maybe not an adult, like, an older student, for example. So there's certain things that we do and don't do in kindergarten based on their readiness level. These kids are 4 and 5. They're cognitively and mentally able to do things, and they're not able to do things based purely on their age. So, for example, we don't do calendar in kindergarten because most kids this age don't have a sophisticated understanding of time yet. So, why are we then asking them to understand the representation of a symbol? Because equals is, a symbol for something. It represents something. It represents equality. It represents the same as. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the language. Is it okay for them to say equals? Of course. But that's something that they can learn later on. They can understand that equals means something else. Just like, we teach them corners on their shapes. They can pick up in 2 seconds later on that a vertice is another name for a corner. Well, equals is another word for the same as. And that's why I don't like using the word, plus, minus, and equals at this age, because they don't understand what that means. They don't I've had kids in grade 4 that don't understand what equals means. And that might sound silly, but like, do they actually understand that equals is the same thing as the same as? No matter if you have 1 plus 1 equals 2, do they know that 2 equals 1 and 1? Do they understand that 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3? Do they understand that that means it's the same, that both things on the equal sign both things on each side of the equal sign have the same value? No. That's a hard concept for kids to get. And that's why I don't like using that language. I'm okay with kids being able to say those arithmetic facts. Obviously, those are good to know. But I'm more concerned that they don't understand what that means. So in our classroom, we explore addition and subtraction all the time. It comes up during play, it comes up during our math lessons, it comes up in our math centers. But I'm more focused on whether or not they actually understand what they're doing. So instead of saying, 2 plus 2 equals 4, why not say 2 and 2 is the same as? Or 1 and 1 is the same as 2. Because what's more important, them using those fancy words or them understanding what that actually means? Let's take a subtraction example. Instead of saying 5 minus 5 equals 0, why don't we say that 5 take away 5 is the same as 0? So just some, food for thought, giving you an insight of what we're doing in our classroom in terms of the language that we're using, because we really want kids to understand what that actually means, and later on they can understand, that equals is just a fancy word for, the same as.